I've been a pastry chef for the past 10 years, and in this video, I'm trying to make a croissant cereal box with 1000 mini croissants. Now, everybody already knows regular plain croissants. I have one here as an example. It's not a plain croissant, but it's a pain au chocolat. It's still the same product, but with just chocolate sticks in the middle. Let's slice through it so I can explain to you what I'm trying to do in this video. So croissants are made of mostly butter that's laminated with dough to give it those layers. That's what it looks like on the inside. So really nice air pockets, really beautiful layers, and chocolate sticks in the middle because this one's a pain au chocolat. Now, what my goal is to take all of everything that's good about the croissant, which is the toasty flavor from outside, the golden crust, the flakes, and also the flavor of the butter, and then make it 37 times smaller to be exact. So that would be 2 grams because a regular croissant weighs about 75 grams. So to check that, let's weigh a regular croissant. Pain au chocolat. It must be a little bit more on the heavy side because it has chocolate sticks. 69 grams. Now, I have made a mini croissant here. It's so small that you can't really see it on camera, but this is a croissant that weighs, it's so small that the number doesn't even pick up on the scale. The scale doesn't even get triggered by the weight. So I have a micro scale, also known as a drug scale, but we'll be using it for croissants. And that's 2 grams. So if this is 62 grams, we're looking at about 35 times smaller. And I'm going to show you how I made this 2-gram croissant and 1000 more pieces. And at the end, I want to package it like a box of cereals and have it with milk, like a regular cereal. So I have all of this goodness, everything that's good about a croissant, but in a bite size or a spoonful of it. Alright, so now that I know I want to make small croissants to imitate a box of cereals, I now have to think about what's the flavor I'm going to add into the croissant. So for inspiration and just to look at all the existing flavors out there for cereals, I've come here to a cereal box where they have a whole wall full of different cereals, exotic ones, and the ones that's like limited, the ones also that's discontinued, because I think most of them are actually discontinued. And I was thinking, oh, like these colorful flavors, like the Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, they don't really have any flavor to it. It's just color, which I don't think would be a good choice for the croissants. The croissants are buttery and flaky, so I was thinking maybe to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because, well, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like toast. There's toast in the name itself, and croissants are as toasted as you can get. So if I coat the croissants in some sort of sugar syrup to give it that nice sugary coating, and then obviously cinnamon powder as well to give it that flavor, I think it will be probably a Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, but on steroids. I think that will work. Okay. So for the 1000 croissants that I'm making, I've already mixed the dough right here. All of the ingredients, the flour, 2 types of flour, yeast, sugar, salt, water, butter. I put everything into a machine bowl all at once and mix it with a dough hook attachment for 12 minutes. I let it rest on the table for 30 minutes, and then after that I left it in the chiller for about 10 hours, and this is what I have now. After that, I have a really well relaxed dough ready for lamination, and I'm gonna do the lamination with butter. So I don't have professional croissant butter, so what I did is I put regular store-bought butter in the machine bowl with 5% of flour, and I just gave it a mix until everything is well combined, and I have this paste right here. I didn't beat it for too long because I don't want to add too much air into it. And I'm gonna make a sheet of butter with this inside a baking paper, leave it in the chiller to set completely, and then once that's set, I will unwrap it from the baking paper and use that to laminate the croissant dough. So I have a piece of baking paper here, and I'm gonna place all of the butter that I have here mixed with the flour onto the baking paper, spread it into about 1 centimeter thick sheet, and then place it in the chiller for it to cool down completely, and that's what I'll use to laminate the croissant dough. So now that the butter is in the chiller and it's cooling down to the consistency that I want, which is not completely hard like the texture that you get from storing butter in the chiller, but it's in between room temperature and cold. It's hard enough, but if you press or roll, it can move and not crack completely. So I have the croissant dough here. I'm gonna go quite quick because the longer the dough stays outside, the softer it becomes, which is not good. And so what I'm gonna do now is, now that I have my croissant dough, my goal is to roll it out with my rolling pin to double and a little bit more the size of my butter sheet. So whatever the dimension is of my butter sheet, the 1 centimeter sheet of butter, I want to roll it out to double and a little bit more. And once that's done, I'll take out the butter and place it on top and close it with the dough that I sheeted out. So I want to use as little flour as possible because the more flour I use, the drier the dough gets, which is not good for the end result. So width-wise, my butter is the size of my ruler, which is about 30 centimeter. I have that on the dough, right? So now all I have to do is go lengthwise, double the length and a little bit extra of the butter. So everything from making the croissant is going to be same as how I always do my croissants. The only difference is that I'm making tiny little croissants. That's going to be 3 to 4 grams the weight of each piece, because I'm basically, my goal is to make a croissant cereal with 1,000 pieces of croissant. So I have the dough to the length that I want it to be at. That's the butter. I'll probably roll it out a little bit more and then place the butter in and do my lamination. So you want to try to keep it as even width as you can. There are a couple machines that they sell. One that you can use it at home, which is manual operated, and then of course the commercial grade machines, which is way easier to use. But because I'm doing it at home, I'm doing all the lamination by hand. place the butter in the middle, bring both the edges of my dough to the middle here, and then slightly overlap it, pinch it together to basically lock the butter in, and I go on to sheet it again to about 1 centimeter in thickness, and then I do my first double fold, and then I do the single fold. So I want to help the butter to spread when I'm rolling it. That's why before starting to roll directly, it will just crack my butter and squeeze it out. I will smash it to kind of tenderize the butter-ish, and then I'll start rolling it. So we've got some really good progress. I've sheeted out the butter and the dough slab to about 1/2 centimeter long. And I'm gonna do my first fold, which is called a double fold, which is basically bringing both of my edges of the dough to the middle, like so, with a 1 finger gap. Because I'm not using croissant butter at the moment, I have not really a perfect lamination, or not as perfect as I would want it. And then from here, I close this. That gives me my first double fold, and after this I will sheet it out again like so, and then do my single fold. So after the first double fold, I've sheeted it out again to a centimeter thick, and then now I'm going to do the last and final fold, which is the single fold. So for this, I'll bring one edge of the dough here and the other over the top, and I'll stretch it if it's not long enough. There you go. And this dough now goes into the chiller for about 2 hours to rest completely before I sheet it out to 0.2 mm thickness, because I'm not making a regular croissant, I'm making mini croissants, which takes even longer to do. And once it's at that thickness, I will start cutting small triangles and rolling out my individual mini croissants, which then I'm going to bake and coat them in a cinnamon syrup and bake them again for 4 hours to dry them out completely, because we're going to package them and use them as cereals, croissant cereals. So you just saw me finish laminating the dough by hand at home, but now that I'm going to sheet it to about 4 mm, I want to make the process way faster. That's why I came here to a shop nearby who let me use the dough sheeter, and that's what I'm going to use to sheet it all the way down to 4 mm, which is less than 0.5 centimeter. And then once I have it in that thickness, I'll cut it into long rectangular strips from which I'll shape my mini small croissants for the cereal. So I've already been shaping some croissants for a while now. That's the size of one single piece. So you know how small they are if one of the croissants is that small. I'll cut them into triangles like these, and then if you come closer here, I roll them up like a regular croissant, but it's just 20 times smaller. Then I place it onto my mini croissant tray that I have. So we've done almost 30 so far, and we have 970 more to go. Okay, so finally we've done shaping about almost 1,000 croissants, mini croissants. That's what they look like if you come closer. Super tiny, right? Super cute. I could have just done like maybe a one baked croissant and chopped it up, but I wanted to challenge myself. I know how to make a regular croissant, so why not try making 1,000 and turn it into cereal? So like cinnamon toast crunch, but cinnamon toast croissant, right? So I've put them all in the box right here. That's quite heavy. I would say it's like almost 1 kg, 800 grams of, it's all frozen as well. It's like croissant popcorn pieces. And before they defrost, and all get ruined, I want to transfer them and arrange them into the baking tray that I have ready, because I have my oven preheated at 160 degrees Celsius, a cute little oven. I probably will have to bake them a couple times because all of them won't fit at one shot. I'll bake them until they're nice and golden brown, take them out, I'll brush some cinnamon syrup on top, and then put them back into the oven at a lower temp, so like 100 degrees or 90 degrees, for about 2 hours, so that I can completely dry them out and they're nice and crunchy on the inside. Because you do not want them to be doughy when you add milk, you want them to be like cereal, crunchy. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. It's so weird handling croissants this shape, this size. I'm so used to holding them like this, but yeah, it's so weird. I hope they don't just melt and become one sheet in the oven. That would be a waste of time of making 1,000 individually shaped mini croissants. Alright, so we've got 3 trays full with the mini croissants. I've still got a lot left in my box. As you can see, I don't have enough trays and not enough space in the oven I've got. So I'm gonna bake it in batches. Batch number 1, the oven's preheated at 160. Fingers crossed, it turns out good. Tray 2. I'm just very worried if I just nick the tray in the corner, all of the croissants are gonna roll to one side and topple over. So I'm gonna be really careful. Woo. Okay, quickly close the oven, and let's go for. Oh, okay, it's not done yet. Okay. Let's go for a regular croissant. I bake it at. So a regular croissant, I bake it at 15 to 18 minutes. 18 minutes for a 75-gram croissant, which is the typical croissant you get in a cafe, right? So because it is way smaller, I'll go for, let's say, 6 minutes, right? And then I can always add more time if I want. After 3 whole days of making them, about 1,000 croissants finally baked, coated in sugar syrup as well. And once they're completely cool, I'm gonna try them like how you try regular cereal with milk. And yeah. Finally, I have the finished croissant cereals right here with me, and the only thing that's left to do is to try it. So obviously we need some milk for that. Cereal first. So because I've sprayed the croissants with a sugar coating, it will be slightly on the sweeter side, but still not as sweet as your regular store-bought cereals. Give it a good mix because the cereals are best consumed when they're partially soaked. At least that's how I like to have them. Ooh, I'm excited. Okay. You just have a little croissant, mini croissants floating around in the milk. Okay, here we go. Very crunchy. I don't know if you can hear it in the mic. Extremely crunchy. I thought the milk will make it soft really quickly because the layers are very thin, so it might go soggy too quick before you can feel the crunch. It is, again, as I mentioned, on the less sweet side, but you can taste the butter in the croissants and because I dried the croissants completely in the oven, it's crunchy all the way through, and also you get a nice toasty flavor. So it's like a regular croissant, but you're a giant and you have the whole croissant in one bite, so you get all the aspects of the croissant in just in one bite. Hi, Coach.
Hey.
So you're the owner of the shop, I see?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you have all crazy flavors of cereals from all over the world. The ones from, South America, you name the country, you have cereal from there. You discontinued ones. But I bet you don't have one flavor. Cereal croissant.
Well,
So, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but on steroids.
Okay.
So it's a single cereal that's 37 times smaller, and you have about 1,000 pieces of it. What do you think? Should we taste it?
Let's try it.
So first to try it, let's get on the goods.
Try it.
Great.
Let's dig in.
Should we mix it a little bit? Because the best way to eat the cereal is when it's semi-soaked.
Yeah.
Right? Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go.
Wow.
Super crunchy. A little bit on the less sweet side, right?
Yep.
Because we wanna taste all the toasty buttery flavor from the croissant itself.
Taste the buttery flakiness. Really good.
Yeah.
Wow. That was just amazing. You know what? I'm thinking this would work great here. Is there any way you can bring it to me?
Well, I know it took a long time for me to make this one box.
Yeah.
But you know what? Give me a second.
Whoa.
There you go. So I spent about 3 days,
Yeah.
100 hours making 1,000 more mini croissants for your customers.
That's insane.
So we've got about 5 boxes,
Yeah.
limited numbers because it took a shitload of time for me to make it.
That's crazy.
So I guess there will be 5 lucky people who'll be able to buy the cereal, and the only place you can get it is at the cereal box.
Come check us out. 213 Ossington. We got a limited run. Croissant cereal. Already know by infamous chef BJ.
Awesome. Well, come quick because I'm not making any more of these.
Before I eat them.